909 Big 550 KTRS. Chance to check in with one of our friends for a long time. Friends of the show, friends of the station. Steve Schankman, co-founder of Contemporary Productions. Steve, welcome back to Big 550 KTRS.
Happy to be here.
Also the trumpeter for the Motown Review, is that right?
Yeah, matter of fact, we just we had a big weekend out at, have you ever been out to the Wildwood Town Center?
I have been out there.
I mean, I didn't realize something that neat was out there. I mean,
Yeah.
It sort of reminds you when Northwest Plaza first opened up. The real urban center, and Motown played on Friday night.
Yeah, and that's where the barbecue bash is in the fall. That's a great little area.
Yeah, I love it out there. It's a little bit of a distance, but if you're heading out that way, it's a place to stop by.
I saw Motown the musical over the weekend in New York.
Yeah, I heard you were in New York. I want to see that when it comes to the Fox.
Oh, I would think somebody like you would just. I mean, I was one of the best I've ever seen.
Yeah, my friends were up there a couple weeks ago, saw the show, so I'm looking forward. Anything about Motown I want to see because it is what we grew up with, and it still works today.
And I didn't know that Berry Gordy was such a. I mean, I'd heard his name, but I didn't know that he was the guy. I mean,
he was the guy.
He was the guy.
Not only was he the guy, but he took a group called, they were called something else, but they became the Supremes. And we always talk about Diana Ross. And I was with Mary Wilson a couple of times, and we call her Diane, which is her real name, but Barry renamed her. But I got in trouble once with Berry Gordy because we played the Kentucky Derby, the party the night before, and the Motown Review wasn't quite kosher. You know, I mean, like they own Motown.
Right.
I mean, they own Motown. So that's why some people use Mootown, you know. And we got told we couldn't use the name, and I had to really do some backpedaling to get them to. You'd never play a party for somebody when you're using their name and you don't have permission. But we finally got permission, and we're still, after 26 years, the fabulous Motown Review.
It's always a fun time. First, all right, we have lots of things to get to you about. Tell me about this new course you're teaching over at UMSL.
Well, I've taught music courses before. Actually, at Webster, years ago, I did the 60-week course on the business, music, and the arts. And the professor was going to London, and I took over the class for him. So over the years, I've lectured at University of Illinois, University of Missouri, Webster, WashU, just on the business of music or marketing and music, the kind of stuff that guys like you ought to understand before you go on the air. So
why do I have to understand anything to go on the air? That's
why
start
radio.
now?
Yeah, it's talk radio. You don't have to worry about music. But the point of the course, this course is Intro to the Business of Music, and it's for people at University of Missouri or anyone that wants to enroll in the class this summer that wants to know a real picture about what do you need to know to be in the music business. So whether you're a musician or you're going into the business, and it may be business theater, putting on events, it could be Broadway, it could be radio, TV.
Sure.
Anything to do with the arts when it applies to the business of music.
The world has changed dramatically. How different or hard or easy is it to get in these days? Because the big boys own everything, but there seems to be a way that people still bubble up to the top.
Well, there are two basic companies. The one that bought us out, which is now today Live Nation and AEG. But there are other promoters around, but it's not just in the promoting business. There's video. There's what I say called business theater, which is putting on events for companies that have stage, sound, lights, video, audio engineering. So there's a lot of other places to go. And I think young people need to come up into that field. I've always thought that. People said they went to the school of Schankman when they worked at Contemporary. But the point is that we need to teach young people this career because we need more people. It's just that when you get bigger companies like Live Nation with thousands of employees, and sure, there's a lot of the old guys like me around, but where's the young people coming in? And only a few schools around the country still, in Florida, in Colorado, California, offer these kinds of courses. I mean, there's more extensive stuff on the West Coast, movies and all of that you can learn about.
Right. In terms of getting into the music business, becoming a musician, a lot of that you can do on your own, right? I mean, you are your own entity now. You are almost your own music label.
Yeah, you're self-publishing, self-recording. When I talk to music students, because I'll either do business students or music students, the first thing I say, you have such great opportunity today. What we had to work with, think about Head East. We had to get a record. We had to go to the studio. We had to get a record company interested in us. We had to put on a concert. Today, you just put it on the internet. I mean, it's so quick to get to anybody. I mean, if you're trying to get your record played or you're trying to get your record picked up by a big label or distributor, everybody's name is on the internet. I mean, I get emails all the time from people that want to get into the music business or want their music heard. So, yeah, I mean, and look at the groups that have done it. I mean, done it just strictly by using the internet. So entree to the music business today is a lot easier. I mean, in the old days, I didn't have to take a phone call. Today, they got my email. I have no choice but to see. but I listen. I'm always out there encouraging, and this is going to be a basic course. It starts on Thursday, July 17th. We're teaching it on Thursdays and Tuesdays and Thursday nights for 5 nights. But I'm going to bring other people in. I got an entertainment lawyer. I got people who know about booking bands, about promoting bands, about advertising, marketing. They're going to learn everything except how to be a radio host.
Well, I can't teach that course, so don't ask me to do that.
Well, Carney's signing up.
Carney can't do it either. Come on now. So that's one of the. It's this summer coming up.
Yeah, coming up. It'll be on Tuesdays and Thursdays. Actually, starts Thursday, July 17th. We'll start out just discussing our objectives and survey all the people in the class and see what they want to do. But we'll talk about the promoter's role, the booking agent, business theater, audio, video, set designs, concert production, advertising, marketing, promotion, and we'll end up talking about careers in the music business and what you want to do and how to get into it.
Okay, quickly, if it's a class at UMSL, do I have to be accepted into UMSL? Do I have to be a student? Can I just be anybody who wants to take a class, sign up for the class?
My understanding, if you pay the course fee, whether you're a student at UMSL or any other school or whatever, you could sign up for the course by calling University of Missouri St. Louis.
All right, good. You're also on the well, let's do this. How is the music scene today? Tell me about some of the bands you hear. Is music and bands better than ever around here? What's going on?
Well, I think St. Louis, since the mid-'60s, when Everett Agnew had Regal Sports and he was bringing the Motown acts, Smokey Robinson and Aretha Franklin to town, and then when we came on the scene, late 60s, almost 1970, by the time we were really in business, I think it's better than ever. I mean, with Riverport or Verizon, the Fox Theater, the pageant, you just talked last week about Lindenwood, the new concerts there that we're booking. I mean, Jay Leno, Willie Nelson, Amy Grant, Bernadette Peters, Boys from Bandstand, some nostalgia. But the point is, I think we have all the new stuff, like at the pageant. The pageant, which we started with Joe Edwards back in 2000, still has one of the top club ratings in the world. I mean, when you think about this building on Delmar Boulevard is made a statement. As I told Joe back in 1999, you already have Hard Rock here, and at that time we had Planet Hollywood. So what I said to Joe, we either build a big club or you're going to see House of Blues here tomorrow. And with Mississippi Nights closing, and we closed the Westport Playhouse for concerts, and the American Theater basically closing, it really made a lot of sense. And the great location, and it's run very well. Live Nation still is part of the ownership there, and Joe Edwards. And I just think that music in St. Louis today, and then the Grove. So what's going on downtown, what's going on in the Grove. We have so many more areas. The Grove reminds me of what started in Seattle. You know, I mean, when you go to in Seattle downtown, you see that district where all these bands came out of Seattle.
Right.
The Grove reminds me of that with all their venues and facilities. So I think what's going on in Soulard, I mean, I'm down at BB's tonight with the big band. Soulard, the Oyster Bar, all those other great clubs off Broadway. Anybody that says in St. Louis there's nothing to do, which has been said since I remember being a kid, there's nothing to do. No, we got the St. Louis Symphony, and we got every kind of rock band or pop band that travels the country. Cher, Barry Manilow, Rod Stewart was just here with Santana.
Right.
And all the stuff at Verizon.
Billy Joel was here not too long ago.
That's a great story.
That was, tell me the Billy Joel story.
Oh, Billy Joel. I remember when he first came to St. Louis.
He opened up the Kiel Center or the Kiel House.
Well, he played the Opera House.
Okay.
But prior to being the Peabody, matter of fact, I have his contract on the wall at my office from 1974. It's for $1,250. So I went to see him a couple of years ago at Scottrade, and I gave him a copy framed of that contract. No less than 10 people before I left that night said, "Did you see that contract? He played for less than the limousines cost tonight." But, you know, everybody started that way. You too. $750 when they played Graham Chapel, I think it was 1981. So when they were at the stadium a couple of years ago, I sent the contract down to the band, and they talked about the show on stage. As a matter of fact, they mentioned we had such a small song list. We had to do the first and last song with the same song. I mean, when you go back, I mean, I feel like I must be 100 years old because it seems like it was 50 years ago all this happened.
Billy Joel was tremendous this last time at the Scottrade Center. Actually, I almost went to this Saturday night. I almost went to the Madison Square Garden to see him again at Madison Square Garden.
Well, that's his regular gig now because it doesn't have to travel. I mean, such an easy thing for him to do. But, you know, some of these groups, Elton John, Billy Joel, Rod Stewart, they have surpassed time. It doesn't make any difference because my young wife wants to go see Rod Stewart. She wants to see Billy Joel. As a matter of fact, we're going to see REO in Chicago when they're here at Verizon. We love these old acts because they're still great music. I just had Huey Lewis played the Zufari last year. He was fabulous. And then we took him over to River City. This past Friday night, we had Jody Messina, a little younger. My point is that these acts are still huge to not only our population, well, mine, I'm a little older than you are, but young guys like you and old guys like Larry Connors. They love these acts. They love, I mean, Dave Murray's a big supporter of Jimmy Buffett. Jimmy Buffett comes to town, forget the weather. I'm going to the show, whether or not. Pop-up storms, it makes no difference. I want to be there.
Well, if you don't like Billy Joel, there's something wrong with you.
Exactly.
I mean, it was phenomenal. Now,
what happened? Well, Christy Brinkley obviously didn't like him.
Well, okay, fair enough. So I'm not sleeping with him. I just want to hear his music.
Yes.
Hip hop and rap, Nelly and that genre. Is St. Louis known as a rap haven of some sort?
Well, I'm not an authority on rap, but Carnell, I mean, that's what I call him. We both went to U City, not together, but we are across the hall from each other in the Hall of Fame, and we talk about it all the time when I run into Carnell. I think what happened with Chingy and Nelly was the beginning of a hip hop scene here. And Ira DeWitt, Bill DeWitt's wife, has a studio here. Again, I wouldn't say we are like what Detroit was for Motown. There's no doubt about it.
Right.
Detroit bred Motown. The biggest Motown acts became that out of Detroit. And you can say Philadelphia, Nashville. I think St. Louis can claim rap. I really do, because I think the acts that we've had come out of here, I mean, not Tupac and maybe some of the other things that aren't around anymore, unfortunately. But I really think Nelly, I think he's as credible as anybody in the entertainment business. He can do commercials. He can do movies. And to me, that's what makes an artist really something. When they can, Harry Connick, for example, is just here for Variety Club. He can do a movie. He can do Broadway. He can sing. You may not remember, but his first show, because you were just in grade school, his first show was here at the Westport Playhouse when he came to St. Louis with his trio, Harry Connick's trio.
Wow.
I mean, so we have a lot of history with a lot of artists in St. Louis. But I really think what Nelly's done and that group of guys have really made St. Louis something to be proud of. And we have accepted it. It took a while to get him at the Fair St. Louis. I mean, I booked that since 1981, and it was only a couple of years ago that Nelly finally played. We didn't think twice about Chuck Berry. And the meanwhile, because he played back in the 80s.
Right.
That's another story for another time.
Steve Schankman with us for a couple more minutes. You are on the board of Fair St. Louis.
Yes, I am.
You guys are going through quite a bit of interesting times now that you switched to the Forest Park now for this season. Parking is a big issue. Can you shed some light on any of that stuff for us?
Well, change is always something that, the media loves to go after, because, what are you going to do?
Right.
Well, we've been able to put this fair on since 1981, and I was there the first year. And we've been able to put it on an 80-acre kind of like closed-in space because behind us is the river.
Right.
Sometimes the river's right behind us. I mean, you step right on in and take a little bath. But the point of the matter is that we got 1,000 acres. We got one of the biggest parks, if not the biggest in the country. I think we're rivals to the Central Park as far as size. We're going to figure this out. I mean, if the public just believes in the fact that we put this event on with money from the Carpet St. Louis and other donors for free, you get to see Bonnie Raitt, you get to see the Fray. We're going to make this work. It's going to have some problems with parking, but, I'm on the board of the zoo, too. And on a Saturday, Sunday, don't try to go there at, 1 o'clock in the afternoon. Go early, park on the street. You don't have to pay to park if you don't want to. So we're going to have a lot of people, as the balloon race does. The balloon race is a couple-hour event. This thing goes on for 3 days. The parade's going to be wonderful. We're bringing the fair closer to the people. I mean, more people live from Forest Park west or east than live down on the landing. So just be patient. I think it's going to work. Parking's a little expensive, but we have a lot of costs now doing this in the park. So I'm not defending the parking charge because I wish it was free parking.
Right.
I'm not defending the fact that, we're taking away some of the parking in the park. But I think you can take the Metrolink. I've taken it downtown. It's easy. And buses. And if the weather's nice, who cares? We have to walk. It's good exercise. I think it's going to all work out. Rain is our biggest enemy. It rains always on the 4th of July.
Right.
And I think we're going to see some rain because it's just the right weather for it. But I think it's going to be great. And I think not having the air show was, something that's a little disappointing. But you know what? Let's get this one under our belt the way we're doing it, and then we'll see what's next.
Well, the pictures coming out of this could be extraordinary because some of the pictures of the Central West End from Forest Park, some of the best views of St. Louis. So with the fireworks over that, there would be a couple of special shots coming out of that. Right,
and I promise you the zoo's not going to let any elephants loose that night, even with the fireworks going on. We have fireworks. for weddings and park things all the time. I mean, I think it's just going to be great for the institutions. I think it's going to be great for St. Louis. And I think people are going to really appreciate the fact it's in the park. And then we'll see what happens. You know, I mean, I don't have anything to say about past this year, but let's get this one under our belt. And I think it's going to work.
Steve Schankman is going to be teaching Introduction to Music Business at UMSL. What are those dates again, and how do we sign up?
Yeah, July 17th is our first night. We're going to meet for 5 Tuesdays and Thursday nights, so we end on the 31st. Contact University of Missouri St. Louis. It's the main number. Tell them you want to sign up for the Introduction to Music Business. I'm hoping to have about 20, 25 students in the class, and we're going to take a field trip or two. And I think for young people or older people that want to learn a little bit about the music business, it's not in-depth because we don't have that kind of time.
Sure.
But you'll get some insight. You'll hear some great stories. I'll tell the Chuck Berry story to my students. And it'll be fun to do, and you may walk away either inspired to be in the business or really realize it's the last thing I want to do.
Steve Schankman, what do you think of Larry Connors joining the Big 550 KTRS?
I was just talking about it this morning. I know Larry and Janet. Larry is as good an investigator into any kind of news or any kind of story. He's a great interviewer. I'm happy he landed here because this is the place for him to be. This is going to be great.
Steve Schankman, you're always welcome here, co-founder of Contemporary Productions, fan of the show, fan of the station, and a fan of St. Louis. Steve Schankman, teaching Intro to Music Business at UMSL. Steve, we'll see you down the road. Let me know when you're at the craps table because I'll go to the blackjack tables.
Yeah, I've seen you roll. Talk to you soon.